Good afternoon to each and every one of our merry Marvelites. Welcome to Marvel Movie Talk, the What If special edition. We'll be talking about the premiere episode of What If momentarily, but first, we need to welcome back our friend, the one, the only, Michael X. Shirley.
That's me. I'm back. I missed you guys way too much.
And of course, if we're going to welcome Michael back, we have to do it in style. First up is a lovely young thing who's wearing all the latest fashions from Milan, the one, the only Count Eric Conner.
Wow.
Hello, my pretties.
And of course, equally as lovely, still Jeff, who remains.
Oh, hello. Also go by Black Jesus, you know.
And of course, so everybody introduce yourselves to Michael.
What
your
if?
personas for this week.
Yeah.
This is wow. I feel like this is really on point with the episode. Like, what if everyone were more like me?
Yes.
Yeah.
We're all staring at you right now.
And I'm of course
had to,
going with the Natalie Portman and
Oh
closer
my God.
wig.
Yes.
And, honestly, I wear this on a lot of Wednesdays, so this is nothing special.
Right.
But,
I just sort of look like Bruce Valanche.
I do.
well, if
Also
you're
feel like in honor of the
wasn't
fact that
gonna say it, but
yeah, if you're
Eric.
Bruce Valanche, that means that you wrote the Star Wars holiday special. So obviously that makes you
Proud of
royalty on
every
this show.
second of
I was
Literally,
gonna
my
like
hands are
Scooby-Doo
just
vibes,
sweating.
but for some
Yeah.
reason, I don't know why.
Well, Cami Egan already appreciates this as
Cami.
So this is how we welcome back our friend Michael. And Michael, you've been away for a while, but let's just dive right in. We're here to talk about What If, the premiere episode, which they don't title them in the way the comic books were. You know, it's like, it would always be like, what if Peggy Carter became Captain America? Except, of course, she's not Captain America. She's Captain Carter. So, your thoughts on the episode? Just overall thoughts, and that includes, the animation style, the voice work, top to bottom. Michael, tell us what you thought.
Oh, all right. Well, I really, really liked that was the episode they started with. That was kind of the one that intrigued me the most. Someone is like breathing.
It's probably Princess Headset, but that's okay. Hey, we all need to breathe.
Multi-pass.
Hey, Michael, you know what?
On a mask.
I hope that we're all breathing. Okay, let me put it that way. Okay.
I was really excited because I thought we were gonna see like, Captain Britain, and then when they called her Captain Carter, it kind of was just like, I guess since they're the U.S., they're not the UK.
They kind of did with the sword thing. They kind of
Yeah.
brought it in of like,
Yeah.
all right, we're
Cool.
gonna give it to you.
I
definitely
did like
had-
that, yeah.
She did have definitely a very Betsy look from the new Excalibur that's out right now. I really liked hearing like Dominic, what's his name? Like seeing him back as Tony Stark. I like just all the little bits. It didn't seem like Chris Evans.
No, it was not Chris Evans. There are a handful of voices throughout the course of the series so far where they will not have them. It was an actor named Josh Keaton. And he took to Twitter to thank people for the positive reaction. He characterized himself as a geek and comic fan himself and know how particular we can be about changes, and had some huge shoes to step into. Luckily, they were a little skinnier in this version. He's been Spider-Man, I think on Spectacular Spider-Man in a few different shows. So, not somebody that's entirely new to voice working, but also to Marvel voice work. But so it was not him.
Cooper.
Yeah, Dominic Cooper. Yes.
Yeah. I just love him in Preacher, but this is a Marvel show, so we won't talk about that. the animation style, there's something like doughy about it that I don't like. It's like not crisp enough. Like when they're talking, like I feel like they're just kind of mumbling and just like real words are coming out. Like it's a little doughy. It kind of feels like I'm watching a live act. What are those called?
By the way, every time you say doughy, you don't have to stare at me. Okay, I get it. I know. All right, you don't. I mean, it's words hurt. Okay, I think that's important to make sure we put that down.
You have an issue with that word, but there's just something not quite crisp enough. It feels like, what are those comics called that are like, they're not cartoons, but it's like, what are those
motion comics?
Yeah, that's kind of what I felt like I was watching a little bit. Like maybe that's what they were gonna make it, but then they decided to make everyone's lips move. I don't know. So I wasn't super into that, but I like the options that are open for any kind of episode.
Yeah. No, I think that I watched the. Well, we'll talk a little later about how I've seen the first 3 episodes, but I watched them with my wife, and there's something about the movement that doesn't seem as crisp as maybe we expect. I think that just as stills, I think it looks beautiful. The animation style, I think it moves a little differently than I expected. I think it looks great, but it is a little bit unlike things we've seen before.
Do you think they're trying to make a moving comic book? Like if there's still frames, it feels like a comic book storyboard, but in moving it forward and actually making it like alive, it doesn't work. Maybe.
I think that's it's very likely that that's what they're going for sure. I mean, this is the first MCU animation, and that might be the case. Jeff, what did you think of this premiere episode of What If?
Yeah, I'm kind of closer to Michael's side. I'm still skeptical. This one is gonna be a show where I feel like it's gonna have to grow on me, and for a couple different reasons. But like for the aesthetics, it came with like the same look as MODOK, or not the same look, but same feeling that MODOK was really different from me than any other Marvel products that we've seen. This, on the same note, is very different than any other Marvel product that we've seen. So it's gonna have to grow on me in that sense. And then I don't know if I'm really bought in on like the whole story yet, but it's interesting to see. I'm excited to see what possibilities there are, because I mean, like with Chadwick reprising his role before he passed away, I'm excited for the possibilities for those episodes. I wasn't thrilled by the first one, but yeah. With that said, I was still confused how Hawkeye knew who Peggy was all of a sudden,
you're talking about the end when she pops out and Nick Fury knows. Fury. I mean, that's not explained. And I was reading that the second season, I believe, of What If will revisit some of these stories. And the fact that they're sitting in that room waiting for her to pop out means that there's probably some indication in some way, shape, or form that who was going to come out. But you're right. I could use that explanation instead of it just tacked on there in the end. By the way, Daniel Drew always explaining things for us. Thank you. It's like cell shading, which is like from Star Wars Resistance.
Thanks, Daniel.
Which is something that Eric mentioned in the chat.
Yeah. Well, that last room reminded me of when Loki came out in the beginning of Avengers. So it's they obviously found the Tesseract, and I think it's similar to like that didn't really bump me as a watcher, because I was just like, oh, like they knew who Steve Rogers was, they knew who Captain America was because of all of his deeds in World War II, and maybe Peggy. Yeah. They kept her alive. The Howling Commandos kind of kept her memory alive in a way.
Yeah. My thought is basically that I loved the concept, and I think sort of setting it up and watching Peggy adjust to this and, dealing with some, the idea of like, but she's just a girl, which of course would make sense I was going to say make sense in the time period, but it would also make sense if it happened today. But the, dealing with all that, but I have to be totally honest, I was a bit bored by it because of the fact that Steve doesn't die. And I think that that's a great moment where like, oh, look how sad that is. And instead he gets to be robot Steve, which Iron Steve, I believe, would be what that action figure was called. And then the way it ends, where she's gone for 80 years, I'm like, okay, so you basically just told a slightly different version of the same story. And I mean, the thing about What If is that it's usually pretty crazy. Sometimes it goes too far, but perhaps later I'll give people an opportunity to decide if they want me to spoil what the second episode is. But what I will say about the second episode is it's very different from the things that we're used to. And I like the way that they fully explore that. And then I think this one, it's just like, it's a great idea. I like it, but I honestly wasn't disappointed when it was over. I didn't love this one. This was not my favorite.
Do you think it was safe?
What's that?
Do you think it was safe?
It was very safe. Yeah.
In terms of like, let's get people, this is our first thing. It's our, everyone knows the first Avenger. Like, let's give people like all of the voices that they know. Then we blow it out.
I would definitely put the second one first.
Interesting.
And just to tease it forward, the third episode, I would light on fire and push off of a bridge, but we'll save that for a little bit.
So there's a lot of hits and a lot of misses. I don't think,
Wow.
Yeah, I think that's what this season of What If is going to be. Eric, your thoughts overall on this episode? Don't think I forgot about you just because you have prettier hair than I do.
Well, I think my hair has become self-aware and is starting to shift on me.
So you're Medusa from the Inhumans?
Yeah, exactly.
It's the right color.
I think Kate, you hit a really good point there. It's just like, it was safe. And I agree. Like, one of the things, and I already held up my compendium of What If titles, because I always like looked forward to those particularly when I was a kid, when they would do ones like What If Dark Phoenix Lived, and that one I remember, like, it spiraled so fully out of control by the end of that issue. She's basically destroyed the entire universe, and so like that, I felt like the What Ifs I remember growing up with, much more Twilight Zone, much more like a lesson is learned. You're right. This was just sort of taking the Captain America story, changing a couple of ingredients. And again, I mean, lovely hearing Peggy Carter. Thrilled to see her. I enjoyed the action. I agree about the animation. The word doughy, I also hold close to my heart. Dough. But I did find the action scenes were kind of fun. The animation style, I'm curious, Christian, I know you like to wield the power of knowledge you have over us. Yes, you saw 3 episodes. Yes, you're seeing Shang-Chi in a week. Yes,
and he even knows how to pronounce the name right too.
Well, I was on a previous episode. I was given instruction that I was saying it wrong. So people who have watched every week, unlike the 4 of you ingrates, know that I recently was schooled on how to pronounce it correctly.
What you pronounced it actually translates to "go fuck your mom," I think. So it's good you figured out how to say it correctly.
No, it's your mom. Go fuck your mom with that wig on your head. Yeah, right. But same difference. Yeah, same difference.
Can I just say,
but I was just curious, did they change the animation in the style, or is
same style?
It's the same style in all 3. Yeah, and I can just speak for 3/10 of the season that I've seen, but it's the very same style.
It's probably because they can't really do it. Unlike there's a new Star Wars thing coming out called Star Wars Visions. To address Daniel Drew's thing. And it's 6 different films and 6 different styles. And I think because they had to go with the same studio, they couldn't really change the animation style per episode. As even though it's a really great idea, I think it has more to do with how the episodes are made more than
Disney's got money, but that's not where they're going to spend it. Before I bring in this comment from Kame Egan, Michael, what were you going to say before?
I wanted to say that I just like Eric already knows who he looks like, but I'm getting like major Billie Eilish vibes from Kate right now. And,
yeah, absolutely.
And I'm getting like Khloe Kardashian vibes from Jeff that I just can't shake. Why?
I just wanted to be a Michael Shirley variant. I'm trying.
Yeah, I like to think that I'm Jem from Jem and the Holograms in her sophomore year of college, when she just decides that she needs to find herself. And believe me, she definitely finds herself. She doesn't need Synergy helping her out anymore. In any case, Kame Egan, I really like Jeffrey Wright as the Watcher. I do think he has got a great voice for the Watcher. There are a lot of different ways you can go. and I really like his narration that we get in the series. But
I also feel like he's like, I cannot and I will not interfere, and I'm like, you're free to interfere like all the time.
Yeah. Ghost 8386 enjoyed the first episode.
Yay!
And Daniel mentions there's rumors of some what if characters appearing in Doctor Strange 2. So maybe waiting for character development there or something else. I think that maybe we'll see character development mostly in season 2, which Daniel just mentions. But yeah, I mean, they have to figure it out for sure. But one of the things I want to talk about is that some people were excited because there is some of the, I believe that people who stan Steve and Bucky, they call that Stucky. And the fact that there are moments and interactions with them in this where Bucky is substituted for Peggy. So it's almost like, oh my God, they're acknowledging the thing that we wanted. There's people very excited for, some of the queer subtext that is not necessarily even there, but it's like, no, it just means that we're being heard. So the people were very excited, even though it's very much a Steve and Peggy story. People who have long wanted there to be Steve and Bucky stories had some of that. Kate, I feel like you were about to say something before I mentioned that.
I don't know what I was going to say, but the overtones of the Peggy relationship and the almost kiss in the middle, with that really comic, Bucky has a truck type of thing. It's like, no harm, no. I don't think there was any Stucky in here. Sorry, guys. It was just so over with all of the dancing references and all of the moments and the hand. It was very much like Peggy. Even in this alternate universe, Peggy, it's Peggy and Steve.
Yeah, but but there is the wink, wink. Hey, you almost ripped my arm off.
That was a nice little nod to Winter Soldier. That was super nice. So I'm gonna cross that off my Easter egg list. Goodbye, everybody.
Oh, okay. But I'm sure there's other things. And Jeff, I feel like you were trying to get in with something, but I was intimidated by your Greg Allman look, and I didn't want to let you talk, but I feel like now I should.
No, it was when Eric mentioned the action, and that was one thing that it kind of looked like it was almost shot for shot for a scene in Black Widow where she's falling out of the sky. And then also on the same note, when I think her name is Maeve I can't remember what her name is in The Boys, when she stops the truck, and I'm sure Wonder Woman does the same exact scene, and where she stands right in front of a truck and breaks through it and stuff. So I felt like there was they're just taking a lot from different pieces of different stories. It wasn't like a really new story in a sense. Literally, the storyline was similar, and then the action sequences were not too far off of what I've seen recently.
Yeah. Well, Kate, I know you have compiled a number of Easter eggs, and I've already smashed one of your Easter eggs, but I think you've got others.
That's
so
okay.
let's talk about some of those.
Woohoo, guys! So I'm not going to mention anything that has to do with oh yeah, that was from First Avenger, because it's from First Avenger and they were basically rewriting First Avenger. So anything that has to do with First Avenger, you've probably already found. The only one I will mention is Tonsberg, which is where Odin beats the Frost Giants. It's actually pointed out on the map in a similar way, and it's where New Asgard is. Woohoo! I really like the fact that Howard Stark makes the Iron Man with the Tesseract, because in Avengers, Fury says that he's going to use the Tesseract as an energy weapon to kind of power everything, and then they all discovered that's a lie. So it was nice to be like, oh yeah, it is an energy weapon, cool. The number on the, what is it called? Hydra
Smash or Crusher?
Smasher, I don't know. Iron Steve is C15. And I found that there are two references, and I'm not sure. So in the comments, let me know which one you think is more likely. It could be a reference either to Captain America 15 from 1942, which is where Bucky, Steve, and a female, her name, it's not Peggy, it's Betty Ross, have an adventure. Oh, or the first season of Agent Carter premiered in 2015. So it could be Carter from 2015 or Captain America 15. So let me know which one you think is right, or if I'm completely off base. The tentacle monster was Shuma Gorath, which has been projected to be in Doctor Strange 2.
Was that? That's what you think it was?
I think that's what it was.
I never saw an eyeball, so I never knew.
It's all like tentacly and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, woo!
I didn't really think about
that. And then Stark says he dated Hedy Lamarr. He spent some time with Hedy Lamarr, who's a very famous actress.
And I don't doubt it, by the way. That seemed to be the thing that added up the most in the episode.
Hey, okay.
That
I got
Howard
a little nervous.
would date
I was like,
Hedy Lamarr, yeah. Yeah.
And
by the way, Kate, Screen Rant agrees with you as to what the monster was, because they do highlight Shuma Gorath right here. So in an article you can find on Screen Rant.
Woohoo, Screen Rant.
Yeah. So.
And then the other thing about Hedy Lamarr, which is really cool, is and then there's one more, which is really it was my favorite Easter egg that I found. I actually had to look it up. But Hedy Lamarr dated Howard Hughes, who is the base for Howard Stark.
Right.
Sure, yeah.
And so that was a nice little like.
And that great line, we weren't practicing German. That was great. And I'm going to have to now explain that to my kids and when we watch it.
Oh, God. Well, you can say that she was inventing a radio frequency system that was the basis for Wi-Fi. I don't know why they haven't made a Hedy Lamarr movie. They need to make one. But my favorite Easter egg by far was when they're doing the train thing, the train attack. She goes into the radio and says, "Operation Where Eagles Dare." And I'm like, what is that? That is so specific. Yeah. It's a reference to a 1968 movie starring Clint Eastwood. And it's the synopsis of the film, because now I have to watch it because I love old movies, is an Allied team frees an American officer from a Nazi mountaintop base, which is exactly what happens, because later in the episode, they end up freeing Steve from a mountaintop castle.
Oh, well, yeah. And,
boom. Easter egg.
I was just thinking about that
delivered.
Let's see. Daniel with an observation. Peggy being in the room changed things a lot, but Zola not being brought to Red Skull was a huge change too. Without him there, no Tesseract weapons or Winter Soldier, etc. Yeah, which is why I think I'm open to the idea of exploring this timeline a little bit more, even though, as I mentioned, I was a little bit underwhelmed by it. I was just excited to, that we had this new show, but I don't know. I was looking for more. And Cam Egan, of course, I have to reference Blazing Saddles. It's Headley. Thank you for that, Cam Egan. I'm glad somebody jumped in.
Do you guys think that this is all a timeline on itself, or do you think these are, I guess, Christian, you would know more since you've seen 3 episodes. Like, are all these happening in their own same timeline?
More episodes?
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was just like multiverse, this number. I didn't know.
I mean, they don't take the time, but yeah, the implication is that things are so different now in this timeline from the one we just saw today, the one that premiered, in the 40s, that when you get to the present day and other timelines, you wouldn't be starting from the same point. So I think each one is its own reality, and that was always my assumption for What If. I don't know if especially with some of the more grandiose ones like Eric's talking about, like a simple act of the Phoenix not
that's
dying.
what I was wondering. Are all these things supposed to be in their own timeline each episode? Okay, that's what I was figuring, but I didn't know.
That's my understanding. Yes, to the distinguished I'd like to yield my time to the distinguished gentleman from Delaware.
Thank you, sir. Okay, Peggy's in the room. But yet, here was where I was a little confused, and I knew someone in this crowd, or our fabulous Blatts the Maniacs floating up there on the right column.
Yes.
Peggy being in there, the issue here was the explosive went off sooner. Because in the original movie, right, in the original origin tale, he turns and then the explosion happens.
Right.
So why was Peggy being there? How did that change when the explosion happened?
It's a good point. They don't tell us what's
they were all in the room. They weren't. Nobody left.
Yeah, so I didn't see how that was, the domino.
I think that, just a slight change. Everyone in the room, that's when you start to think about the butterfly effect, where just the one little tiny change had the big effects.
So the Hydra spy saw her and his heart went to flutter because she's,
she's Haley Atwell. So that every part of that adds up.
I might as well go now. I saw Haley Atwell.
Now, and please continue to tell us your thoughts in the chat about this episode. And Cami Egan points out we're the Black-tastics. I love it. If I wanted to lose money on creating merch that no one wants, I would make a shirt that says that. But the only merch I've ever made, I've just given away because
I've got one of those.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in a while. For the Black cast,
it's like the Black cast is written in the Spider-Man font. It's pretty sweet.
Well, thank you. Yeah,
is it a belly shirt?
How many episodes do I have to be on to earn a shirt?
100 more.
Great.
Year number 5 is when you get the sweater.
Yeah.
I only got mine when I went on Christian's official Black cast show.
That's true. Although Kate has been on the Black cast because I repurposed our audio after we saw Black Widow. So, but I haven't seen you since then. So that's really the difference.
I expect the shirt any day.
Yeah, any day now. So now is the point in the conversation where I'm going to ask if anyone of the 4 of you doesn't want to know what the next episode is. And if people watching don't want to know what it is, you might have to dip out for a second. Does anybody not want to know what the next episode is?
I mean, when you put it like that, who wants to wuss out?
I'm not going to be
what I will say is that it's my favorite of the 3 that I saw. So
God, the drum roll is getting so
the drum roll.
big.
Well, no, I'm putting this up for people who are watching casually.
Episode 2 is actually what are.
So
what if. That's the big spoiler.
So they actually use an exclamation point instead.
This is a warning.
Cami Egan wants to know. Anybody who doesn't want to know, just go ahead and duck out. So I'm going to say now what the second episode is. So the second episode is the one where Chadwick Boseman voices Black Panther. And I will tell you that when it started, my thought was well, who needed this? But it was actually really fun. So it's basically a young T'Challa is accidentally brought back to Yondu instead of Peter Quill. So T'Challa becomes Star-Lord. And I won't go into the story beyond that, because that's in the first minute you find out that that's what happened. So it's actually
I saw the preview of Star-Lord.
It's in the preview.
I know, but sometimes people avoid trailers and such. So that being said, there are a lot of differences in the universe because of that. There's one that's a running joke throughout that's actually really funny that I feel like this crowd will appreciate. And it was really well done. I was the most interested in that episode. And I hope that more of them are more like that. And honestly, even like the first one, as opposed to the third episode.
Yeah, the dumpster fire.
Yeah, I will tell you.
It's I don't for Eric to come back. First of all,
who's the main character in that one?
There's a lot of main characters. There's a lot of main characters in there, and one of the things that Natasha Romanoff is featured in there, and one of the things that you need to get used to with the Black Widow is, no involvement from Scarlett Johansson. I feel like she's no longer welcome in Disney associated projects because
cut all of her stuff.
She had the audacity to expect to be paid, which is something I do want to talk about in a little bit. But
is it safe for Eric to come back? Are we?
Yeah, Eric is great. Eric is definitely here. Yeah, he can come back. Yeah,
no, he muted himself so he didn't get a spoiler.
No, that's fine. That's fine. But and then
I was just telling him to come back.
I don't even need to get into what the third episode is. What I'll say about it is that a couple minutes in, I'm like, all right, I guess. And then throughout the rest of the half hour, I'm like, who needed this story? why did they decide to tell this story? And it was at that point, I didn't know that they were going to probably revisit some of these universes down the road. And there's tremendous voice acting in this third episode from the actors that we're familiar with in the screen, but, just not Scarlett Johansson and not Robert Downey Jr.
So
spoiler.
Selfish.
Yeah. So I'll be really interested in the coming weeks as people react to those episodes, what they think in terms of, maybe I'm way off. I will watch the third one again, especially because I was just so completely underwhelmed by it. Apart from the voice acting was the only thing that I thought was well done. But, so we've got 10 of these coming our way, and I'm looking forward to more. I did want to take a quick little informal poll. Obviously the season is done, but are there any specific ideas for a what if that each of you can think of, or just a character that I would like to see in one of these? And obviously there is a Spider-Man one. They have said that they were able to figure it out and work it out. And so there is a Spider-Man one that's coming, and I've read what that one is, and I think that one will probably be one of the ones people talk a lot about. But in terms of characters you'd like to see, or if there's a specific, I'm sure Michael wants to know why the Generation X TV movie didn't lead to a full-blown series, but that's more of a real-world question. Are there any characters that you'd like to see highlighted? Go ahead, Kate.
So here's one that I would like to see, and it's just because I grew to love this character. I would like to see if in the cinematic universe, Gamora was the favorite and Nebula was not, and Nebula was punished. I would like to see what would happen if the roles were switched. I would like to see what would happen if Nebula was favorited and Gamora was punished.
I think that would be an interesting thing to see for sure.
Because Gamora is so vital to Thanos' story and so vital to the Guardians and everyone else's story, that sisterly relationship. Would Gamora actually be as sympathetic to her sister? Would Nebula be with a little bit more love and care? Would they actually switch personalities, or would they actually just be in different places? And how would that change everything?
I would definitely like to explore that. Eric, I'm going to assume that your dream episode is devoted to Turner D. Century.
Well, that's my dream of basically the entire MCU.
That's fair.
That he finally gets his due. So sad that we didn't get to meet him and MODOK. I always liked when powers would transfer. That was something when I was a kid reading comics. When I got older, kind of reshuffling the deck. And so I always found I remember with Fantastic Four, I feel like that happened once or twice along the way. So I think, for me, it'd be interesting to see what if the Avengers did switch up their powers, because I think they even had what if someone else had the hammer, Thor's hammer, which I know they're going to be doing with Love and Thunder. But even if they opt, I can't imagine they're going to introduce us to the X-Men or Fantastic Four in this series. So
I would assume not. Even though as animation, I think that they have the rights to use those characters. It's very confusing. I actually don't know.
They're using all this to push their movies.
Yeah, they're saving that for a movie.
Right. So then maybe it'd be the Avengers switching it up, and all of a sudden.
This is a great one from Uvula Scrimshaw. What if Turner D. Century became a Herald of Galactus? Absolutely.
Yes.
I would love to see that.
What if Dum Dum Dugan was Captain America?
I wouldn't be surprised though that
hope he didn't shave.
In the season finale, we did get a previously 20th Century Fox owned character. Just as a little, I wouldn't be surprised if they dropped one in.
That's fair.
That gives me an idea. What if Fox had never made The Gifted?
Well, we will.
What if
we will
Deadpool was PG-13?
You see, Chloe Bennett is available now to voice any Marvel product.
Yes, she is.
Because she's not doing Powderpuff Girls anymore, so she's available if she needs to be in any movie. Just got out there.
Obviously, Eric has one for us that he would like to see, and he took the time to do this. The What If Michael X. Shirley liked Loki, which we will save our Loki conversation.
There's a bunch of me.
Yeah, of course.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm loving it.
Although my favorite might be Gator with a wig. Might be my favorite.
Yeah, that's true. The Gator with the wig is
that your wig that you're wearing right now?
No. That's a much longer wig. This is more of a bob.
That's one of his other wigs.
I really enjoyed that episode of Loki, by the way.
Oh, okay. Well, good.
Yeah.
Jeff, does anybody come to mind for you that you would like to have seen a What If for?
I think we're getting him, but Drax. I love Dave Bautista's rendition of Drax. I want to see more of him. I know he's talked about how this is his last movie in the live action iteration, but I want to see more of that in What If. So that'd be a cool character I would love to venture into.
Didn't he play Avalanche in X2?
What, Dave Bautista?
Yeah.
He was in WWE at that time.
That's a good question. I actually don't remember.
Has anyone seen Dave Bautista's advertisement for Disney Plus?
It's so great.
Because it might be the greatest thing I've ever seen.
It's an old man Dave Bautista going fishing, talking about the bundles that you can get with ESPN Plus and Disney Plus and Hulu.
And it's just like him in a boat. Good. And I'm just going, is that Bautista?
For
he's like
another
scared in the middle of the woods. And he's like,
for another Eric Conner approved What If is something that I have to apologize for neglecting to bring to people's attention last week when we were talking about theme parks, because Eric had a What If there was a Disney Touchstone land in one of the theme parks. So he was kind enough to create Ruthless People the Ride. And you can just really get, just some of the flavor as to what that would be. But Eric, I know you also were very excited to bring up one of your favorite UPN properties, second only to the Diary of Desmond Pfeiffer. Wow. That you wanted to talk about The Watcher, which was actually a series on UPN, correct?
Right. Well, of course, and I'm surprised that Christian, a man of your deep intelligence and hair care products, didn't know the real Watcher. In my mind, will always be Sir Mix-a-Lot.
Yeah,
who hangs out in a relatively high-end hotel room in Vegas and talks about all the sins that happen in Las Vegas, because until the show, I had no idea that Vegas was filled with sin. And so week in, week out, it was an anthology series. So he would sort of be like, if you ever saw The Hitchhiker on HBO, or of course Twilight Zone or any of those, it's basically the Crypt Keeper from the auteur behind Baby Got Back. And this show was on for surprisingly only a part of a season. But it featured Gilbert Gottfried in a starring role, and yet somehow that wasn't enough to keep it on the air, as he battled lesser-known comic Jackie the Joke Man Martling, who was a hero to two of us and a complete mystery to everyone else. So it was on. It was at UPN back in the day.
Yeah, it was a UPN joint, and I'm not. And it was set in Las Vegas, and he did play the Watcher, and of course. What we should all remember about Sir Mix-a-Lot is that he don't want none unless you got buns hun. And it's funny because even young Gilbert is so old. And, the idea that that gentleman sitting next to him was Jackie the Joke Man is very difficult to accept. But in any case, I wanted to make sure that we spent a little time on The Watcher.
Was that a Marvel show?
It was not. It was not a Marvel show, but I can watch. The fact that Gilbert's not doing his Dracula voice means that I'm not in as much of a rush to watch it. In any case, but anyway, we appreciate anytime anybody does their homework. Let's see. We've got Daniel Drew. What do we think that the stories that they'll tell with the mini animation studio that Marvel Studios is creating? For me, it would be like seeing Steve returning the stone, stuff like that. I would wonder if we would get that story sometime. Obviously, without Chris Evans. But by the way, Kami Egan, that show was horrible, but it was something you had to watch because it was so bad. And I appreciate that Kami Egan and Eric are, cut of a similar cloth, as it were. One thing that we didn't get a chance to talk about was there's the latest trailer for Venom: Let There Be Carnage was noticeably missing the release date, which I believe had been September 23rd. They've now moved the international release date to October 14th. And if you see posters for it or anything that's out there, it's that Let There Be Carnage will only be in theaters. It says only in theaters, and it says this fall. So it's a non-specified date, and they haven't officially moved it yet. But as we're starting to see, some other movies, like Paramount has this Clifford the Big Red Dog movie that they just moved completely off the schedule because they're like, no, we gotta
like, this movie's gonna be really big. We need to save this little gem.
Well, I mean, I think that they want to give it the best opportunities to succeed. And we're less than a month from the release of Shang-Chi, and they're doing press screenings. So I feel like that's gonna come out, and then that's gonna really be some kind of indication. But, and Jeff, I don't know if you said before we started, you were talking about Chloe Zhao saying that she's seen the Eternals and thought it was great. I think that, that's the next big MCU release after this. So I guess
I would hope she would think it's great. She made it.
You meant Shang-Chi.
No.
She saw
the Eternals. She saw the Eternals. No. She saw her own movie and said it was great.
She saw Shang-Chi.
Oh, I would hope so.
I thought Jeff said she saw the Eternals.
No.
No.
Y'all aren't listening.
You don't listen to Jeff because you're beauty. You don't listen.
I don't.
Sorry, I was just wait.
I understood you perfectly.
I can't hear what the
movie
is. We're having talking about the right movies. That's the thing. So the director of the Eternals was talking about Dune.
Oh, Dune.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, so none of us were listening to you. Great.
No.
Okay, good.
But
maybe I said it wrong. But I thought
Jeff keeps freezing on me.
Yeah, Jeff's a little choppy because his Wi-Fi is intimidated. But he's intimidated by the fact that he's the third Nelson brother, which of course is a joke only for Eric. But
also, the official release date is the 24th, so they're only pushing it by a week for Venom 2.
Well, for Venom 2, but the international release is October 14th. So they're pushing it like 3 weeks, and then I guess we're just sort of wondering.
We don't even get it in our own country first?
No.
No. It's going to be here first.
Okay.
We just
don't worry,
don't
BB.
really
We got
know.
you.
We don't even get to see that in our country.
Yeah, exactly. But, a movie that I don't want to spoil anything about, but I will tell MCU fans that I believe that they would enjoy the Ryan Reynolds starring Free Guy, which is in theaters this Friday, or I guess technically tomorrow night. He's, of course, our Deadpool, and Taika Waititi is delightful as a crazy over-the-top character. And it's a really fun movie. It is definitely, it surprised me in that it actually had a lot more heart than I was expecting. And there are multiple moments that fans of this show will appreciate throughout the course of the movie.
Oh,
and
yay.
I feel like that's enough to say.
Do you think someone watches, like one of their producers been watching?
No, I just don't want to spoil it for people who go see it. That's really what it is because I can say once the embargo's lifted, I could tell you everything about the movie. I could reenact it. But I don't want to spoil something. Sorry, go ahead, Kate.
No, there's a really nice an actor who is in Free Guy has a really nice cameo in Suicide Squad, which I know is is not Marvel, but fuck it.
No, but I'm sure that a lot of people in our audience have seen Suicide Squad over the last week, and it's James Gunn, and obviously, Taika Waititi does show up in that as well. In Suicide Squad, I don't even know it's a spoiler anymore. But
okay.
I would
just
say that
I don't know what the rules are. I just
that's all right.
Follow them.
I would say that if you're comfortable going out to the movies, indoors, drive-in, whatever you might have, I think people will enjoy Free Guy. It was actually a lot of fun, and I only partially say that because they let me see it for free. That's only part of the reason. No, because I think that that Marvel fans will be glad that they saw it. So,
and if you're a Marvel fan, go watch the newest trailer for Free Guy. It has a slight Deadpool cameo in it. It's very nice. It's the marketing on that movie is fantastic.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The trailer that they had. Funny comment from Craig Robinson. Got to see Suicide Squad early. Not sure if that was a massive treat.
Oh, burn!
I think it was great. It was better than so much of the movie going that has the letters DC anywhere associated with it. But in any case, I
thought the filmmaking was very obvious.
Sure, but I would see here's what I'll say before we move on from it is that Suicide Squad it was a great movie for the teenage boy that all of us still have somewhere inside of us, and an R-rated superhero movie with that level of violence. Boy, if that movie had come out in 1990, it would probably have been my favorite movie of all time. But
okay, gotcha.
In any case, so let's see. Ghost 8386. I hope we get a future what if of Agent Carter versus Red Guardian. Sure, please. Let's get that. I definitely want to get some Red Guardian in there. I would definitely like to see that at some point.
We need to do a what if Isaiah Bradley, because we just dabbled into that. Give me something.
Yeah.
Or give me a backstory in the animated series that we were just mentioning in the comments. So, that's another backstory they should venture into.
What was that? Sorry, I didn't see with
Isaiah Bradley.
Oh, Isaiah Bradley. Yeah, that'd be great. All right. So I think that in terms of the news is the idea of hopefully we get Venom in the very near future. I continue to be excited for that movie. I don't care what anybody tells me. Yes, I saw the first Venom and I didn't hate it. I actually enjoyed it. So I'm still excited for that. We'll deal with that as it gets closer. Now, Michael, you've been away from us for far too long. And Eric has cried most weeks. I just want you to know what you've missed out on.
It's a low guttural moan. It wasn't technically a cry.
Without, we don't need to, go episode by episode, but just overall, you hadn't seen Loki the last time you were on, and now you've seen it. So you don't like that character, Tom Hiddleston Loki. So what did you think on the whole of the 6 episodes of Loki?
Oh my God, it was torture until we got to the end, and there were more of him, and then when they all started killing each other, I was like, this is kind of awesome. But I really, really, really enjoyed. Oh God, what's his name? He's in everything. I'm sure you know his name, Christian, the guy who plays the older one with the horns and the goofy looking.
Oh, we talked about Richard E. Grant. Yeah.
He was so good.
Agreed.
The alligator was pretty nice comic relief too. Honestly,
and hopefully the subject of a future episode of What If. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
I definitely see them doing that with Loki. But man, that girl Loki, I didn't get it. Why was she called Sylvie? Why wasn't I don't know. There was just too much unexplained stuff. She didn't seem like him. If I was gonna pick a girl to be Tom Hiddleston's counterpart, I would have picked a blonde, And she talked she was straight Cockney accent. This isn't no princess of Asgard. This is some lady waiting in line
at a deli.
Yeah.
I don't think
what makes a Loki is they want a goddamn sandwich.
Hey, I'm not a Loki. Who's a Loki in here? Yeah, it's not upstairs, downstairs, but okay, that's fair.
I feel like I'm watching The Crown. The accuracy here is really something.
I grew up on British television. I can do pretty good high and low British accents. But no, once she was,
you can do both Patsy and Adina.
Oh yeah.
Oh God. We need to have a spin-off
Oh my
show.
God.
Michael Shirley and I talk about Ab Fab.
I could just chuck it in the bin. All right. Anyways, no, as soon as she lost that horn, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I see no semblance of this character anymore. I felt like the fans probably loved her.
I think you're right.
They like anything Loki for some reason.
Also true. Yes.
There's just a thing I don't get about love for Benedict Cumberbatch and Tom Hiddleston. Like, to me, they're kind of like this same kind of actor that kind of like rose to fame, like early 2000s, mid 2000s. Like, I don't know. I get them confused, and like one of them was Doctor Who, one of them wasn't. Like, whatever.
Oh, by the way, as the fact that we have someone across the pond, Craig Robinson says top-notch accent. Yes, thank you. We strive for accuracy in all things here. By the way, Uvula Scrimshaw points out Ab Fab is a favorite around here. I was more of a young ones guy, but I agree. So the fact that there's going to be a second season of Loki, do you feel like it's going to? Oh
no.
Yeah, you see, you didn't
talk about a spoiler.
Yeah, you always miss
my day.
You always miss.
Michael, I miss.
Anytime there's anything in the credits, you seem to always miss it.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah, I turned that off right after.
What did you think of the kiss, Michael?
I was like, I thought he was like non-binary. Why are they making this so obvious with a woman?
Thank you.
I mean,
I was like, it's much ado about nothing. With all
would you rather
crap.
he kissed the alligator?
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, I would have. Yeah, for sure.
That would have gone great with that fight scene.
Yeah. Well, so you don't have any expectations of a Loki rewatch in the near future for you, Michael?
No. I'll do like that series recap for episode 2.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go back and watch nothing.
Eric called to my attention. Daniel Drew said the Marvel Studios Legends specials seem to have not included the Agent Carter show, only the Captain America movies and the Agent Carter one shot. I'd hope they'd include something from it.
I was very sad about that too.
Yeah. It's okay. Wait, sorry. Just back to Loki for a second. Did you at least like Jonathan Majors as He Who Remains, and ultimately that's the actor who will play Kang in Ant-Man and the Wasp? What did you think of Jonathan Majors as He Who Remains?
I was really shocked that they introduced him in that show.
Yeah,
and he's not what I was expecting, at all. But we'll see. I don't really have a lot of expectations for Kang the Conqueror, but it seems like he's going to make the role his own.
What do you think of Owen Wilson?
Oh, I just want to fix his nose.
Well, yeah, and Michael's long ago on record that he wanted it to be Luke Wilson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for some reason, you guys act like you guys say that he's cheaper, and I'm like, well, then why didn't they get him?
He's busy with Stargirl.
Yeah.
Talk about a garbage show. Go on.
Back last night.
Go on.
Eric, I'm sorry, you were trying to jump in with something, Mr. Conner.
Christian, do you have the poster for Michael Hates Everything readily available? I feel like
that's while I could find it, I don't want to distract myself.
I used to be so impressed with what DC was doing with their Arrowverse, and now it's just so predictable and awful and terrible.
Yeah. But instead, I will just bring up another picture of Sir Mix-a-Lot as the Watcher. I think that that's really what people
Oh my god, is that like the piece of press? Like they
that's a press photo.
What? This is a heavily hyped show back in the day.
His show got its own headshot.
What else did UPN have besides the worst Star Trek series in Voyager and in the animated Dilbert show? I mean, believe me, I want to make a second Diary of Desmond Pfeiffer joke, but I feel like one a century is really all I get. So as much as I want to.
Well, they had The Critic, didn't they?
No, that was a Fox show.
Oh, never mind. I love some John Lovett's nonsense.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think
Go ahead, Kate.
Can we run back to Legends for a second?
Yeah, sure.
I'm just curious. Do you think that they didn't include Agent Carter, the TV show, I feel like they're like taking all of the old Marvel TV shows with the Netflix deal and just like scrapping them entirely. Like they've kind of rewritten that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is not canon anymore.
Well, by the end, when Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. started, you felt like it was canon, but like halfway through the series,
they're like cleaning up after the Avengers and crap.
Yeah, and there was that really cool thing that they did with when Winter Soldier came out, which is they prepped the audiences before, and then if you saw the movie on Friday, the next week, the next Tuesday it premiered, it was like, oh, the helicarrier died, and it's like, oh, cool.
No, that was really cool, but then once we got to Infinity War, it was very clearly
LMD.
And even in Loki, they did not mention at all that Coulson came back.
Yeah, because
like they didn't
honestly, because in Kevin Feige's mind, he didn't. He died in Avengers,
right?
And I think that that a lot of that stuff has been done away with, So.
Yeah. But my question is, like, do you think that they didn't include Agent Carter in that Legend special because it wouldn't have happened in this What If universe?
Because
she skips it.
But then we did get Jarvis in Endgame, so that's the confusing thing. So then it's like, okay, so he was Jarvis, but did those stories that we saw on the Agent Carter TV series actually happen?
Matter.
This is what happens when you don't get your rights good and tight.
Well, yeah, I mean, the fact that that Marvel, teetering on the brink of bankruptcy in the late 90s, sold off all of their valuable properties early on, is definitely what they decided to do. Daniel Drew, I mean, they have said that anything made by Marvel Television has no longer been canon since that company ended, and he's calling it canon adjacent. You should assume that the Netflix series and Runaways, Cloak and Dagger, and Michael's favorite, The Gifted.
The Generation X one-shot film.
No, that oddly enough, the Generation X one-shot film is canon. And that's canon. I don't even know how that makes sense.
And the Agent Carter one-shot is canon because it's in the special.
So what are we talking about with Jessica Jones and Daredevil and everybody? Is that
not canon?
Not canon.
So do you not believe in either of these rumors that he's not going to be in She-Hulk, Spider-Man, or Hawkeye?
No, so you might use those actors, but those stories that have come before can be in different universes. I mean, you get to do this with the multiverse. But
do you think we're going to get Charlie Cox? It's been so long. I feel like no one cares anymore.
I mean, like, who could do it? I mean, there probably is someone that could do a good job at it.
Ben Affleck?
Yeah, Ben Affleck.
All right, bro.
I'm just kidding. No.
Yeah.
No. I think we're gonna get Charlie Cox back.
Or they get Chris Evans to do it again. He'll take
reportedly. Reportedly, indications are that Charlie Cox is in Spider-Man: No Way Home, but I guess maybe we'll see later in the year.
December 17th.
Daniel agrees with me. We'll soft reboot those characters, but we will have a soft reboot for all of us next week because we will be on a full hour later at 3 Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, and I know that might be past your bedtime across the pond, Craig. So we won't hold it against you if you're not able to join us as we talk about What If Episode 2, and I think that I will not be able to even say if I liked Shang-Chi at that point. I think I'm legitimately not able to say anything at that point. So you'll just have to assume I hate it. But we'll be talking about the episode of What If that I liked the most. So there's that.
Storm?
Sorry, what was that?
Chris Evans as Johnny Storm.
Yes.
Yeah, we definitely need Chris Evans as Johnny Storm.
Also, if you want to watch Idris Elba and Chris Evans in their former Suicide Squad-esque roles, go watch The Losers.
Losers, yeah. And Zoe Saldana's in that too, right?
Yeah.
Look at that. I'm excuse me, sorry, I'm getting all choked up. But until next week, let's let everybody know where they can keep in touch with us. Jeff, where can people find you?
Yes. You can X out the He Who Remains part and just do the @JeffWill Jr. at all your social media platforms.
And everyone knows I hate Michael Shirley.
Yeah.
But in addition to my own personal feelings, that's also where people can find you on Instagram.
Yeah.
And of course, Michael.
Yeah. X Shirley on Twitter.
Is the X for Excalibur or Generation X?
It has nothing to do with X-Men. It was just, I thought putting like saying underscore, what if people wrote MICHAELUNDERSC? You know, I just didn't want to confuse anybody with Michael underscore Shirley.
Well, that made it really
easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Cammy Egan wants me to give a little taste and whether or not I like Shang-Chi. I have to read the fine print. And Craig Robinson will be shouting "Flame on," and that reminds me that I so often am always reminded of how much I want to do a watch along of the Roger Corman Fantastic Four, and hopefully we find time to do that before too long. Eric Conner. If people want to spend some time with you virtually, how do they do that?
With or without the wig, you can find me at Count Eric Conner on some social media platforms. TikTok is still a little scary to me. And you can head over to rent or buy Other Voices over on Amazon. And hey, guys, keep your masks on. Please be careful out there, okay? Too many people I know getting this variant. This is the bad variant. As opposed to the variants Michael views as bad variants.
Not the Michael.
Every variant.
Yeah. And I was wondering, I'm like, is Eric going to leave the wig on while he promotes his serious documentary about the Israelis and Palestinians? And the answer is, of course, yes. And Kate, if people want to chat with you, they can go screw themselves. No, if they want to chat with you, where do they find you?
Done some weird pics.
That's weird. They can find me at Cornellable on Instagram and TikTok. TikTok is not scary to me. Yeah.
That's because unlike Eric, you're under 50. So that's why. I forgot to bring
a terrifying place.
I forgot to bring one of my props from Avengers Campus last week. And so from the PIMS Test Lab kitchen is this enormous soda can that they're happy to sell you of, I guess this is Pingo Doce, but you see how big this soda can is. And in true not Disney fashion, you're able to refill this throughout the day without buying another drink. So that spoke to my need to buy useless crap that I don't need.
Did you like it
and
here?
From being really cheap. Yes. We did a whole show about it, Michael. I'm sure that you're going to watch it soon, but we talked about it last week.
You know who is at Avengers Campus today is another member of the Black Cast universe, Alexa Capiella.
Oh, Happy Cappy?
Happy Cappy's at Avengers Campus today.
You mean Happy Cappy who doesn't like MCU movies?
Yeah, I know. We'll get her there. She finally watched. Sorry, Happy Cappy. We finally watched Winter Soldier, and she liked it, and she's now interested in watching more Marvel content. So maybe there's a variant of Alexa that is liking.
Yeah, her
Marvel
thing
content.
is that she doesn't.
Civil War.
She doesn't like watching.
We're getting
She
there.
doesn't like watching the sequels. She felt like one was good enough for all of them. And
she's like, I don't like it. She didn't like that everything was so hyped, so she didn't want to get disappointed.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that's like dating in Los Angeles. So
no, Alexa and Michael
expectations.
You and Mike, she and Michael should watch Loki together. It sounds like that would be like a Nexus event of hate.
Oh.
This is so good.
And
yeah.
Kate, in terms of you making new friends in addition to Happy Cappy, Daniel Drew followed you on Instagram. So.
I saw. Hi, Daniel.
All right. And Daniel, I don't know if you followed me on Instagram, so I'm going to just sit here and wait until you do. No. Anyway, so thank you, Jeff, Michael, Kate, Eric, and of course, everyone in the chat. Always fun to chat about all this stuff. Join us next week, as I mentioned, a little bit later at 3 p.m. 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 Eastern, 5 o'clock Michael Shirley time. It's all very complicated.
Michael Shirley time, I like that.
But we will talk about What If episode
MST.
2. And but until then, as the great Stan Lee would say, Excelsior!